All right, I'm here at the Wealthy Store, owner Rashad Hosea. Excited to talk about the brand for multiple reasons. For me, growing up in Detroit, fashion was everything. I mean, you can go back to Jabot jeans, Guess fits. You couldn't be just anybody walking around in anything. And what you wore, whether it be your clothes, your shoes, your glasses, whatever, it was really an extension of your personality, extension of who you were. And reading up on the Wealthy brand, doing some research, one of the things that stood out to me is you talked about wanting people to feel wealthy, wanting people to feel like, so it's more than a lifestyle brand, it's a lifestyle. So talk to me a little bit about kind of your motivation behind starting it. We're coming up on 2 years. Talk to me about the journey and where you started at to where you're at now.
Well, the motivation of it was to just be inspiring. We wanted to just be like a fashion brand that just inspires people too. It seems like that was something that we were always missing, like especially in black culture. We have something that say like stop snitching or something crazy, you know what I'm saying? But I wanted to put like an uplifting message just directly to our community and be fresh as hell in it, match your kicks with it. Like you said, fashion in Detroit is everything. That shit is just like, man, you will have a long day at school. Let's just say that.
So when you came up with the idea, you said, hey, I want to give people something to be inspired by. I want to give people something to be proud of, something positive. Mm-hmm. Where did the name Wealthy come from? What made you choose and settle on that?
Because you know how we always put like age numbers on like accomplishments, like by 25 I want to have this or have that, but I just wasn't quite where I wanted to be financially, so I always just said I was mentally wealthy. Like that's just what I told myself to just give me some type of motivation or whatever, keep me headstrong, because being a broke black man with a kid, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's just not happening. So I just used the words mentally wealthy to just get me going or whatever. And it sparked this idea. We dropped the mentally off the wealthy and just went with the wealthy, trademark wealthy, and just went on from there. And we're still working on expanding, adding some different branches under the brand or whatever. So, yeah.
So one of the things that I've noticed, whether it be watching Ty up at Grand Blanc or Rocket when he was with us, mm-hmm. The biggest athletes in the city and in the state tend to I always see them in your brand. Talk to me about the relation between your brand and athletics and sports. I mean, I see a hoop here in the shop. Yeah. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Me and my partner, we grew up in basketball. We was raised with basketball. Like I feel like that's where I got a lot of my business intangibles and good qualities and attributes and shit. As an entrepreneur, I got that from just playing sports, just playing basketball for real, just camaraderie, chemistry, just being a leader. Like I just felt like that just helped me as a businessman. So of course when I see a young athlete or whatever, we had those conversations of that we'll bust their ass right now. That's just what it is. So yeah, but just I see myself as kids, so it's just natural for me to just give advice or whatever, and it's just natural for them to be attracted to our brand or whatever, because like we got the Dwight Howard poster there. It's just, I don't know, it's just synonymous. Fashion and sports and hip hop and all that, it's just all synonymous with each other, and it's all hand in hand, and it just happens organically. Yeah. For real.
You touched on something that is key and part of the reason why I do this segment, and it's the life lessons that athletics teach you and bring you well after the ball stops bouncing. At some point, that ball's gonna stop bouncing. We joked about it earlier. You can still get up in LA Fitness and play 5-on-5 till you 60 if you want to. But the reality of it is, at some point, these young athletes are gonna have to turn to something beyond athletics. And you touched on the things that you learned and utilizing that to get to where you're at now. What type of advice would you give those young men that, right now, basketball is their everything, or football is their everything, but eventually it's going to stop.
Yeah, you got to, like, especially with basketball, it's only, 450 players in the NBA? You got to look at the numbers. You got to look at the statistics. You know, you got to work hard. Like, I don't like just, projecting my fear or anything on kids. But at the end of the day, you got to be realistic. You got to have a backup plan. You got to have whatever that hobby is, use that platform that basketball is. Like, now kids got a platform now from basketball. We didn't have that shit. At all. Like, y'all have a whole platform. Like, you really can do whatever you want to do. Like you said, like, basketball, like the endless connections, like nationwide connections, like AAU teammates. Like, I got partners that I hoop with that's into business all over the nation. Just that brotherhood basketball helps kids develop. It's an unbreakable bond for real. Just those battles, like those practices, like, this shit ain't got nothing on that. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, wake up, go make put a couple orders together, do this. Ooh, it's nothing. Like, basketball definitely prepares you for life, like, for real.
So when you think about that, you think about entrepreneurship and really being a competition or being a game, right? And your competitive spirit carrying over to that. Talk to me a little bit about tackling COVID and not allowing it to be, a lot of people looked at it as something that was going to slow them down or deter their business, or, and your business continues to grow, continues to thrive. So talk to me about, kind of overcoming that hurdle and how you use those challenging moments from athletics to kind of, give you a little bit of inspiration through this.
Right. Yeah, COVID, we didn't know what was going to happen, honestly. Like, this shit caught everybody off guard. Yeah. The cough was on cue. But look, it caught us all off guard, and we just, like, with this, we didn't know this. I didn't know when I started this in 2015, 2016, I was gonna have a store. Like, that wasn't like my aspiration or whatever. It was just rolling with the punches, adjusting the game plan. Like, oh, this can help our brand. But it was the same with COVID. Like, once COVID hit, and we seen how to operate through it. Once they gave us a chance, especially online too, we had already developed a good trust with our customers or whatever, with our online, because that's how we started. Before the store, it was just online. So our online went crazy because online shopping wasn't nothing else to do during COVID. So that was a plus. Even our storefront was closed, so it was heavy online orders or whatever. That gave us a good opportunity to, like, do little touch-ups in the store. Just we really got better during the COVID. I mean, I hate to say it like that.
No, I mean, it's facts. I mean, because a lot of times we're so busy that we don't have time to reflect and reposition and pivot. And I think that COVID benefited those that were able to pivot and those that were able to adjust and make moves on the fly.
Exactly. Like our original our first grand opening in 2018, like, we signed our lease here October 4th, 2018. Then our goal was to do our grand opening Black Friday, so that was like November 23rd, 2018. So it was like 51 days we had to just bring this store to life, because it was like definitely a demo job.
Yeah, no, I mean, being able to, like you said, adjust and make moves in uncomfortable situations, being able to adjust on the fly, those are things that, we can learn through athletics, we can learn through adversity, we can learn through many different places in our lives. And one of the things that stands out about you, in the time that I've been following you, and we've been connected on Twitter and whatnot, you're always looking to help other people. Like I've seen, you've hosted different events, right? Outside of just, and it's not about wealthy. You don't even put your name on it sometimes.
Sure.
So talk to me about being that guy that wants to not only grow yourself, but teach young entrepreneurs and give them the blueprint, if you will, give them the game and guidance and direction in navigating through this journey that you've been on.
That's just me. Like, I like putting people, because you know how, say me and you click, but you might have somebody else that you can connect me with that we just hit it off and just go just off your seat, you know what I'm saying? So I have like a big network or whatever, so it made much sense to just put everybody in the same room and acknowledge people, shed light on the different things people are doing, because everybody feels like entrepreneurship, you're just supposed to just blow up.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like, some people, it's taking care of their bills. They don't have to go work for nobody else. Like, it's comfortable for them or whatever. So, like, I admire those businesses like that. So, I just try to shed light and connect everybody, connect those graphic designers with those videographers and those photographers with those models, or that clothing brand with those models, photographers, and you know what I'm saying? It's just putting pieces to the puzzle and just shining light and breaking bread with other people, because the thing that we lack is unity. Like, I feel like if we were more unified as just a culture and a community, like, we won't be able to be stopped, because strength in numbers.
Absolutely.
Like, for real. That's how I look at it.
So when you think about the unity and the collective, if you will, within the culture, within the entrepreneurial space, obviously COVID's made it a little bit difficult for us to do those type of events and things, but what are some ideas that you have for the future as far as bringing guys together, as far as continuing to grow not only your brand, but your network?
Right. I don't know if you've seen it or not, but I had an event. It was called the Millennial Empowerment Expo. It was our 3rd year. We had Karen Civil as a headliner. I don't know if you're familiar with Karen Civil or not, but she done work with Nip. Meet Nicki Minaj, just all type of artists within the hip hop culture or whatever. So that would have been the event of the year right there. At the African American, the Charles H. Wright Museum, just everything was just lined up perfectly. Then COVID kind of knocked us off of just having those type of events. And I feel like the internet is so oversaturated with the lives and the, I just don't want to step on no toes, and I don't feel like being in that competitive lane right now. So I just got back in my business bag with Wealthy and just trying to expand this as much as possible. Trying to come out with new pieces, just more quality stuff. Yeah.
So we're coming up on 2 years in brick and mortar, but you've been online for 15, 16?
4 years.
4 years. So you're coming up on 2 years in the store. Like you said, you never really envisioned having the store when you first started. Now you're 2 years in, you made it through. Most entrepreneurs, most businesses, by year 2, 3, overall, not just brick and mortar, but overall 2, 3, they've either bubbled and gone away, or it's that time to go. And you talked to me a little bit earlier about really hitting the ground running here and getting things back up and running. What do you see these next 2 years looking like for you?
Next 2 years, we're looking at like expanding more nationwide, because we get a lot of online orders from everywhere. It seems like everywhere loves us, like Florida, Georgia, Texas, heavy in Cali, Milwaukee, Chicago, like everywhere, Ohio, New York. New York is a tough crowd to crack out there. So it's just, we're just trying to figure things out, map it out perfectly, and just keep attacking. And with the help of like Detroit as a whole, I feel like Detroit is blowing up, like with the music, with the fashion too as well, connected to the music, and it's just like our store is becoming like a legit landmark or whatever, and that's what I envisioned when I did decided to say we need to open up a store. Like, this was it. Like, the art on the wall, just a Detroit ass store, without having to, like, you know, say it. Like, it's Detroit's brand. Like, it's wealthy. Like, I wanted it to be synonymous with the city. Like, that's our mindset here.
That's dope. That's dope. So, a piece of advice, I want to end on this. Obviously, like, things didn't start here, right? It's been a marathon. It's a continual marathon. Mm-hmm. A piece of advice for that young kid that maybe right now his dreams are a little bit bigger than he can reach out and touch, or somebody's telling him his dreams are too big. What would you say to that young kid that has dreams and aspirations, whether it be in athletics, music, entrepreneurship, whatever? What piece of advice would you give them?
Whoever you like if you're a designer, go read up on how he started. That's how I did a lot of things. I looked up Damon John from football, and he started with like $40 and a hat or a t-shirt, a hat and a t-shirt and like $40. I'm like, damn. In the 80s too. So I'm like, yeah. Like, I took what he went through and just, you know, applied it to my journey or whatever, and I knew my situation wasn't as bad as his. So I'm like, I'm in a way better situation than he was. I know I can start this and make it into what football was and is, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, just find somebody that you admire what they do and go look at the background. Like, everybody see what you see on the surface, what we put out on the gram or whatever. They don't see us busting out boxes and making teas and answering emails and just all the hard part. Like, go look at that hard part and make sure you're prepared for the shit that actually makes the business, you know, not the lights, the shiny shit. Everybody like the shiny shit, they don't like the dirty shit, you know what I'm saying? You go hand in hand. You gotta get dirty for this shit, for real, with anything. Sports, fashion, music, whatever you wanna do, you gotta get dirty for it. And everybody don't wanna get dirty, that's why it's only a few. It's only like a 1% for real. Like, if you wanna be a part of that 1%, you gotta go do 1% shit.
No, that's real. That's real. And you know, to touch on that, I want to tell you, you know, I see 1% in you, and then, you know, I hit you up, hey, let's link, and you're not even open. You say, come on through, right? And that shows me that you get it, right? And sometimes you have to pivot and you have to make sacrifices, you have to make time. So I appreciate you making time for us. I know for a fact, my son's 14 and he's into music, right? I can't guide him down that lane, right? A kid out there come to me and say, hey, I want to get into fashion, or I can't guide him down that lane, but there's people like you that these kids can look at and study the journey and reach out and have conversations with you, because that's the way that you've moved and that's the way that you've been. So, you know, I think that for sure kids are going to learn from you, and kids are going to learn from this, and if nothing else, they understand after the game's over, there's plenty of options, but they got to use their platform. Right now, they got something we ain't never had.
Yeah, I gotta definitely. I'm still struggling to get the platform these kids got. It's just, you know, focus in when it's all over, or even preparing yourself. Like, nah, you got overseas, you got all these different leagues. Like, you got money to. It's ways around everything. Like, just be smart, make the right decisions. For sure. Like, this shit ends fast too.
Too fast. And most time we ain't packing a parachute. It's
yeah, for real.
It's just the fall.
Like, those 17-year careers, like you seeing LeBron, that's a man. 17 years at the high level.
Man.
20 years, y'all seeing that? That shit is rare.
Very rare. Very rare.
When I was hooping, I used to go look at people like George Hill. Like George Hill, I'm like, all right, he like my height. He went to IUPUI or some shit like that. Like, I'm like, all right, this is what I'm comparing myself to, just realistically. Like, people be going off in the deep end, just going to, but he slid in there, you know what I'm saying? And he had a long career. Like, you gotta just be real with yourself. Like, for real, that's the number one thing, be real with yourself. And if you young, you got time to fix it, you know? Like, we old as shit now. You know, we keep it real with ourselves. We can't go back like.
Well, I mean, and that's part of the entrepreneurial journey, right? Like, you can't start believing your own hype. You have to be real with yourself, because if you're not,
for sure, this shit gonna crumble
quick.
and it's gonna be even. That's an embarrassment, honestly. So yeah, you definitely gotta. Definitely.
I appreciate you, man. It's been real.